biology students of IIUM are here to research the landscape and the garden of ancient China. For a very long time, China is recognized as a symbol of power and the integrity and the beautiful cultures. Back in China, for a very long time, China is well known for its symbol of power, which means the dynasty of King Han and Ming, not forgetting the philosophy of the famous ancient art, the Taoism and Confucianism. I'm Muhammad Zaid bin Muhammad Zahari. Mr. King.
So, how did Buddhism reach Japan from Korea? And how did it reach Korea from China? And how did it reach China from India? It travelled with the caravans in Central Asia, over frozen mountains, past salt lakes, and across burning deserts. Collectively, they are called the Silk Routes, and they were used by merchants. Lower Yang was the city where Buddhism first took hold in China. The sutras had travelled from India, reportedly on a white horse, and were translated into Chinese. The horse is commemorated by a statue and by the place name, Bai Mazu. It was a monastery with China's first Buddhist temple, built about 2,000 years ago. The temple has been rebuilt with a caricature Chinese garden. Lower Yang once had a wealth of Buddhist gardens, now known only from written descriptions. To discover how they probably looked during the Tang dynasty, from the 7th to the 10th centuries, one must visit Nara in Japan. It has temples, a town plan, and archaeological remains of gardens, all inspired by Chinese precedents. The oldest fragment of what is now called the classical Chinese garden is the Lion Grove in Suzhou, the Shizi Ling. It was begun by Buddhist monks in the 14th century, and its rocks, though rearranged, are the oldest examples of rockwork in any Chinese garden. Many of the stones are upright, like Buddhist lion dogs, because the Buddha was the lion of the Shakyas, and his first sermon was the lion's roar. No pre-Buddhist gardens survive in China, but there are records of extremely large parks. Emperor Wu of the Han in the 2nd century BC made one lake with 3 islands outside Xi'an. The idea was Taoist, and the islands, he hoped, would attract the immortals and thus help him become immortal. It didn't work, but one lake with 3 islands became a feature of Chinese gardens from the Han Dynasty onwards. Symbolic islands are also found in Japanese gardens. It is curious that the influence of Buddhism on Japanese gardens is universally acknowledged, but the influence of Buddhism on Chinese gardens is ignored or denied. Part of the explanation is that Buddhism came to be regarded, in the words of a Chinese garden historian, as an outlandish cult which had invaded China.